Howdy, howdy. We've got news in Call of Duty land. We've got the path to Season 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 community update, and I just wanted to touch on the important points. So I think uh, we'll start with Warzone, just because it does relate a lot to DMZ, so it's just sort of two at once. Crash and stability improvements, of course, that's just a given. Audio solutions and things, you can read that if you really want to. It's not that big a deal to me, but maybe it is for you. The UI changes, so we'll have overall flow of in-game menus. So this is just a general thing: is improved navigation and organization of camo menu, more polished social tab, new My Bundle screen, quick equip items from Battle Pass, My Bundles in store, reticle previews in store and gunsmith. So hopefully we'll get a chance to customize the reticules like in every previous COD for ages. Improved clarity of attachment blocking, logic in gunsmith, and many more bug fixes. So, and some fixes, some other bug stuff. Experience things. Improved after action report with audio. Play again feature in Battle Royale, which is just an absolute no-brainer. And bug fixes for inconsistencies between challenges, Battle Pass, weapon progression, weapon balance, some of the weapon balancing, which we won't get in any real details until February 8, maybe February 8, we'll see. The Gulag is the big change in Warzone. So we've got the 1v1 Gulag returning, and then first they're going to modify the existing map, and then they're going to bring in a specialized map for the Gulag in 1v1. And changing the nature of the weapons and removing shotguns from that rotation. So just making it a bit more fair. And changing the nature of the loot pickup is a huge thing. So cash economy, less money from missions, more from on the ground and containers and things. Trying to make the redistribution should make for quicker, more consistent gameplay in the pursuit of resources is the goal. The loot and inventory. So there's the shifting away from loot windows menus to floating loot that will now drop out of all containers in the world, similar to loot from supply boxes. So trying to get rid of the whole Fallout, you look at a container, you see the inside of the container. Now you interact with the container and it spews out all the loot. So you make everything like a loot box. No? Yeah, everything like a chest with loot in it. So I think they like that interaction better, and maybe it'll be faster. So it is more like, again, more like Fortnite. Looking at that sort of thing as a value add in terms of the speed you save by not having to go into another menu and interact with it, which I think for the lockers is quite obvious that it's annoying when you go through multiple lockers. But of just opening them all. But then again, whether the loot, you still have to sort through the loot on the ground, whether that's managed in a way that makes it, you actually pick the good things stand out, or you just have to sort through all the crap. The backpack system's changing, so they're getting rid of the different tiered backpacks. And it doesn't specify exactly how big they're going for. So the medium and large backpacks will no longer be available, and eliminated players will drop loot onto the ground rather than loot-filled backpacks. Every player will have the same backpack throughout the entire game, which will subsequently reduce the impact of stacking medical supplies, equipment, and kill streaks. So I'm thinking they'll take the large one, and maybe they'll keep the extra weapon slot and just reduce the total backpack by a couple. And interesting to see, because they've also done the same thing with armor. So just everyone spawns in with tier 3, so there's no tier 2 armor. So you don't have that having to find a tier 2, and then someone's found a tier 3, and then you're outgunned. I think in terms of balance, that's a really good idea, and that'll work well in DMZ as well. Probably work better in DMZ, just having the 3. It'll make it less punishing to go in multiple matches, and same with the backpack. It'll make it less punishing for losing all your stuff, because you'll still have a good backpack, or better backpack. Loadouts, they're doing a bunch of stuff with loadouts. Introduce customizable perk packages in Season 2's feature launch, but this is all just, but they're going to get rid of some of the perks, so we'll be interested to see how that sort of goes out. Again, not enough detail. More affordable prices for primary weapons at the buy stations, and there's going to be more buy stations throughout the entire world, both in DMZ and in Warzone So movement, they just wanted to, you can bust through doors while putting armor on as you move. So nothing crazy yet in terms of, slide cancelling or anything like that. More buy stations. Strongholds, they're looking at, this is the really important point, adjustments to AI combat and damage. So I'm really interested to see how this, and this ties in with DMZ, reducing the damage of the AI is really, it's a big step. So again, they want them to be obstacles, or they want them to be just nuisances, the AI. Alright, so let's move to DMZ. So we're looking at consistency of AI, as in adjust balance changes to adjust the types of AI spawning, the number of AI spawning, and the accuracy of AI at range, and much more. All this should provide a challenging but manageable play space that still requires player respect of enemy combatants in the DMZ. So I'm thinking there's some situations in which you spawn and then you spawn nearby a group of armed AI, and they can be quite challenging when you haven't quite got your feet settled on the ground. So I think just changing the timing in which the fully armored enemies spawn in is totally reasonable. Why not? Why not do that? And the accuracy, some of them are absolute lasers and others are totally inaccurate. So maybe consistency across there, or we'll see. Again, they might just reduce the damage. So give more of a drop off at range in terms of damage. And how many they have in strongholds, we'll see how that goes. Spawn points in DMZ, we're tuning some of the infield points across Al Mazrah for improved early match experience based on gameplay data. Starting at a point in which the squad feels isolated or without loot and contract opportunities is not the best experience. These tweaks should improve spawn points across the mode. I'll be interested to see how this works, because I have had instances where I spawn in and get sniped within 30 to 40 seconds. So people are able to move into position because they can target familiar spawn points. So maybe this will make that worse because everyone's closer to actual towns and things. Or it'll be interesting to see how they do it. Whether they move around the contracts and things to try and adjust the dominance of certain areas in terms of getting actual missions and stuff. Mission difficulty tuning. Faction mission difficulty ramp was too aggressive for many players. That's what the feedback said. And the demanding scale ultimately made it very challenging to unlock the second insured weapon slot. Bloody oath it did. Bloody oath. Let's have a little jump in DMZ for a second. Faction missions. So yeah, these are the tier 3. Here's tier 2. And not even up to that one. So I got to complete that mission, I get that, and then yeah. So they are quite challenging. I mean, collecting the dog tags is just mad, really. Okay, let's go back. Yeah. Load already. Okay. We've adjusted the overall scaling of difficulty in missions as the tiers progress. Later tier missions will still be quite challenging, even for the experienced operator, but we believe more straightforward access to an additional insured slot will provide a better path forward for all players. Well, just start us off with 2, and then just put it up to like 7. You could give us 10 insured weapon slots if you wanted to. Crashes, again, it's quite annoying when it crashes in DMZ because you lose all your stuff. And they're going to try and improve stability. Simple. Seasonal refresh. All new missions are coming to Season 2, including a refresh of your current faction mission progress and inventory. Contraband keys reset. We'll be detailing all. So we lose everything in Season 2. Which I kind of understand the logic, because it's not like we have too much stuff anyway. But if you unlocked an insured weapon slot, I hope you don't lose that. That'd be quite painful. Locations with a new exclusion zone coming to Season 2. Players will have a third option to choose from when deploying DMZ. The faction mission refresh will provide new missions that send you across these destinations, including Building 21, which says you and your squad gear up for infiltration first. We're interested to see how that works. Maybe that'll be good. Alright, and we've got multiplayer, which I care about, because at the moment... So again, bringing you updates, including weapon balancing, as well as new playlists, return of hardcore plus ranked plays coming to Modern Warfare 2. And the more details of this, audio fixes, audio occlusion. Yep. Perk balancing, a lot of feedback around the timing of the bonus perks. So they're going to reduce the time it takes to get all your perks, rather than just give you them all at the start. Whatever. Small change, but they could just gone all the way. There's no need to waste time with that. Weapon balancing, several weapon changes. Again, all that detail is going to be in the next thing. They're not going to give any real detail here. The Hardcore, as announced last week, Hardcore mode is returning to Modern Warfare 2. Hardcore will replace the Tier 1 mode. We're excited for fans to have this franchise for back in the mix for Season 2. Why it should have just been... Why they even introduced Tier 1 in the first place instead of just Hardcore? I can't understand. It's no point. Our Valentine's Day playlist will return. Stay tuned. We'll be detailing the multiplayer modes coming to Season 2 in the coming weeks. Well, they said Season 1 would have Infected and Pro Plant and all these modes, and they lied. So, thankfully. Maybe they'll add them. Season 3. 1 week per month, Infinity Ward will be creating a Twitter poll for fans to vote on one of that week's playlists from a rotating pool. So make sure to go on the Infinity Ward Twitter and have your say. Last rank play. Yeah, it's coming. And looking ahead, there are some of the These are some of the changes coming in Season 2, and we have plenty of new content to share ahead of launch. Expect more information on the brand new small map coming to Warzone 2.0 next week, including the return of Resurgence, the full Season 2 announcement, blog released on February 8th, with upcoming posts from studios, including the full Season 2 patch notes, as well as blogs from the Call of Duty staff, all set to drop before launch. We appreciate our dedicated and passionate Call of Duty community for the continued feedback and support. Stay frosty. See, call me out, that's it. That's how you do it. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Positive things for Warzone. I think that's absolutely a given. That the big changes is that people complained a lot about Warzone 2.0, and rightly so. So that's where we have the big changes. Simplifying the game, getting rid of the looking inside containers for loot and just having it all just vomit out on the ground, and then getting straight to Tier 3 armor. Everyone has a standardized backpack. It feels like it's making the game more balanced. So you don't feel, as a new player, you drop in and someone's got a Tier 3 armor thing, and then you can't kill them because they've got more armor, and you're like, oh, that's not fair. Getting rid of all that's great. I think I'd rather just get rid of armor altogether. I'm not a fan of armor, so that's kind of the reason why I don't play a lot of Warzone. It's really just I hate armor. Armor's the stupidest thing in the world. The whole, refilling your armor thing, the whole action of that, I just feel that's a total waste of time, and armor is a waste of time again. We digress. The changes to the combat damage of AI, I think, is going to be really big in terms of the feeling of the game, especially in DMZ as well. But it's going to be a lot easier. The player versus enemy, AI enemy part of the game, I think they just wanted to make it, again, the focus more about player versus player. So if you make the AI just weaker, makes them just roll over them. It's not as big a deal. And then reducing the numbers in DMZ where they spawn and things. I think it'll be interesting to see how that works. Whether that's just reducing the number of fully armed enemies or contextualizing it around just in strongholds or just in, the city or things like that. It'd be interesting to see. But I would like, going forward, I'd love a mode where you start in the city in Warzone in a particular tall building, and then there's just numerous enemies all around the city, and you've got to try and escape, and there's like no helicopter, and you've got to fight your way out, like Heat. Remember that movie? Val Kilmer, Al Pacino, De Niro. Yeah, classic movie. But, they don't have to do that sort of stuff just yet. But interesting stuff. The loot, so changes. And buy stations being more frequent. And then just bug fixes about crashes. And so they're going to introduce, where is it? New maps into multiplayer. Interesting to see which ones they go for. Probably one basic one rather than all the Modern Warfare 2 old maps, which they should do. And 5 new weapons. Yeah, that's 5 new weapons. Which they don't tell you which ones they are, but there will be 5 new ones. So I'm hoping that they bring in... why do I keep cursing circle? Terrible. Okay, so I'm hoping they bring in... let's go to operator. Here we go. So only. So he's customized. So I'm hoping that they bring in the Wazakashi as a melee weapon, because I feel like we've just got the knife and the shield. I feel like we need a novelty melee weapon. We're about due for something funny. So we could do a samurai sword. I think I prefer a samurai sword, but they do prefer to go with the Wazakashi, just the short version. But yeah, so we need some melee weapons just for a bit of variety. Why is it all my updates gone? So yeah, tier 1's gone. Cop that, tier 1, cop that. Yeah, that'll do. I'll catch you next time. It's been Frosty510. I'm looking forward to the changes. There should be a lot more. Some decent bundles and things and added characters and stuff. And maybe the battle pass actually will have something interesting about it. We'll see how we go. All the real detail will come out February 8, or it'll be like February 14 or 13, like right before launch of February 15 of the season 2. So yeah, get excited, time to get excited for COD again. All right then, I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.